Well, Andy, first and foremost, congratulations are in order to you and the family.
Thank you.
What's the past week been like?
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, I had, when I finished in Rotterdam, I had a week off with out practicing, wasn't able to come and train, and was just waiting for the baby to come, and yeah, baby's all healthy, mum's well, everyone's back home now, so yeah, it's been busy, but it's yeah, it's good.
Sleep? Much sleep?
Sleep's been a couple of nights, been like average, but yeah, it's actually been okay so far. I think once you get to number 4, like, you know, every noise they make doesn't sort of worry you as much as it did at the beginning, but yeah, it's been okay.
In terms of the year so far, interesting, very up and down one for you. You've had COVID, you've suffered the consequences of that, having to miss the Australian Open. How hard was that period? It
was tough, yeah, because I felt good, and like I say, I'd really trained really well for over 2 months, and physically was strong, and my tennis I thought was in a really good place. And then obviously I went sort of 10 days without training or practicing, and when I got coronavirus, and then obviously when I wasn't able to go to Australia, I felt, yeah, I was just pretty demotivated, to be honest, because I put a lot of work into that. But at the same time, I wanted to get out there and compete. I just wanted to go and play and not, you know, not be thinking about, you know, Australia. So then, yeah, I got back on the court to compete, and, you know, played okay in Biella. And then Montpellier, Rotterdam, for me, were so-so. The results weren't what I would like. Physically, I felt okay, which was positive. But yeah, the tennis was not kind of the level that I wanted or expected after how I was feeling kind of through November, December, and, you know, and I think there's a variety of reasons for that.
Did being detained at home mean you had to do extra homeschooling?
I was in my room for the first 6 days because my family, they didn't have it, and they tested negative after I tested positive, so I was just in my room for 6 days because obviously my wife was heavily pregnant, and I didn't want to, you know, she didn't want to get the virus if she could avoid it, so I was in my room, and then unfortunately, like, all of the family just tested positive, like kind of one after another, a few days apart. So yeah, it was rough. And they'd all just had chicken pox. The kids also just had chicken pox like one day before I tested positive. So it was just yeah, it was a kind of a rough kind of few weeks at home, but they're all back at school now, which is great, and they're happy and getting to see their friends and stuff, and see a huge difference in them that they're getting to do that.
What do your kids, the older ones that are kind of aware of it, what do they make of what you're doing, your comeback, and what do you tell them about it? I don't think they're particularly bothered about it, to be honest. My middle daughter, who, yeah, she's sort of, when I tell her that I'm going away, she now gets upset and doesn't like that I'm going away, and kind of ignores me on FaceTime and stuff when I'm away now, which is sad. But yeah, I don't think they're that bothered by it. But yeah, hopefully at some stage they'll be able to come on the road to a tournament or whatever, and yeah, I hopefully enjoy it. Does that help focus the mind, kind of the sacrifices of what you're doing, of going out there on the road at this stage of your career and life?
Yeah, I think that's like, yeah, one of the things just now, yeah, when I go away is I really, you know, want to try and make the most of it, because yeah, I'm being away from my family, and it's the same for a lot of the players that are traveling just now, and you know, you want them to be there with you from time to time, so you're not, you know, away for like months on end. But at the same time, I don't really want my family to come and have to stay just in a hotel for 10 days just so that I can, just so that I can see them. It's not particularly fun for them, and you know, a lot of the players that I've spoken to and stuff that are in that situation are also finding it difficult to find that balance, to know exactly what to do. So yeah, maybe once the outdoor events and stuff
happen where at least when you're on site, the players and the families and everyone can actually be outdoors. It's maybe a little bit different, but whilst we were playing the indoor events, it was not really worth it.
You said the tennis that you've played so far on that previous little swing wasn't quite what you wanted or expected. What do you expect from yourself in Miami?
I expect a lot better than what I produced in the 3 tournaments that I played so far. Certainly more consistency. There was some good signs kind of at the end of the match with Robin Haas, and in the first set against Rublev. There was some positive signs, I think, in those matches, but I need to do that for an hour and a half, 2 hours, rather than just 20, 30 minutes here and there. Hopefully that will come with matches, and also being around the top players more. That was a really good thing in Rotterdam, was that before the tournament there, I got to practice with Tsitsipas and I practiced with Borna Koric. And was trying to get on court with as many of the top players as possible, because it is different. It's a different level, different speed of ball and stuff. And I did well in the practices and competed well, but it took me a little bit of time, when I got on the court with them, to feel comfortable at that level. So, I want to make sure I get on court with as many top players as possible in Miami, and then I expect to perform much better on the court. I like the conditions there. Haven't played much outdoors in recent months. Since the French Open, really. It's been 5-6 months since I've been outdoors, so that's why I'm trying to get out there early to try and adjust to the conditions a bit.
It was interesting hearing Federer talk about his comeback in Doha last week. Obviously extremely different circumstances for him, but he said, I could have played the Australian Open, but I didn't feel like I could win it. That's his mindset about playing tournaments. How can you relate to that? How different is your mindset about your comeback?
Yeah, I think there's different stages. Like I said, when I first came back and played the doubles at Queen's and stuff, I was just happy to be on the court playing again, because I'd missed it a lot and hadn't been pain-free on the court for a very long time. And then, as time kind of goes on and you get back on the court and you're competing and you are pain-free, then my kind of, my goals and my expectations and everything change. And, I know that I'm still capable of playing at the highest level. So before Australia, in December, I was chatting to my team about the Aussie Open, and I was like, I really feel like I can still go deep in that tournament. I was starting to believe it and visualize it and stuff, which hadn't been the case last year or anything. So yeah, my expectation is to go and do well in these events. I mean, winning it right now, is probably a bit ambitious, but I do feel like I can compete with the top players in the world, and then hopefully in a few months' time, if I'm able to remain on the court and healthy, then with more matches and stuff, it will start to happen more regularly.
Do you feel like tennis has moved on, men's tennis, much since you were last competing with the best in the world?
I don't think so. When I watch the matches and stuff on the TV, I haven't noticed that. And then I have noticed myself when I practice with the top players, that there's definitely a difference in pace of ball, a difference in the movement of those players. But I don't think that has moved on that much, and I think that's just because I haven't had the opportunity to play against them and practice against them as much in the last few months. I would say that the thing I've noticed that the players are getting bigger and taller. I think that was starting to become a bit of a trend, 4 or 5 years ago, but now that I've come back on the tour and there's kind of more younger players and players that I've not seen before, they all tend to be 6'4" plus, whereas the optimum height during 2010 to 2020 I think was more 6 foot to 6'2", 6'3", but the players are definitely getting larger, so maybe it has moved on a bit in that respect.
Working on growing a couple of inches.
Yeah, exactly.
Just finally, I know the comeback isn't necessarily results orientated at this stage, but is there you mentioned visualizing a moment ago, is there a moment or a feeling or an experience that you visualize or are striving for in this comeback?
I mean, I'm looking forward to playing in front of fans again at Grand Slams. That's something that I'm excited about, and something that I've thought about quite a lot in recent months. And again, that was something that, I found tough. Like when I watched on the TV and saw the players over in Australia getting to play in front of crowds, I thought it was brilliant that they could do it, but I was sad, because I wanted to be over there doing that, and I've missed that. Like at the beginning, when I just got back competing and all the players started again at the US Open, I was just excited, and I think all the players were just happy to be given the opportunity to play again. But kind of as the tournaments have gone on, they just miss something and lack something without the fans being there. And for me, it's just not quite the same. So I really look forward to that. And then, I want to be on the courts at Wimbledon and feeling like I have a chance of winning the event. And I'm aware that would be extremely tough, but I do genuinely believe that it's possible. And I need weeks and months of training and practicing and matches and good health, but I do feel like it's possible. And I'm sure some people think I'm delusional and that that my best days are behind me and everything, which may be the case, but I still feel like I can compete with the best players in the biggest tournaments.
Wish you the best of luck, Andy.
Thank you.
Well,